And now to officially start our meeting, if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now call this meeting for October 14th, 2020 to order. And before we start our regular business on the agenda, I'd just like to acknowledge that Ed Humphrey has joined us from a remote location here by Zoom. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning.
And with the first item that we have, I would move to item B for the approval of regular session minutes of October 7th, 2020. Board, I know you've had those minutes early and had the opportunity to review them. Do I have a motion to approve the regular session minutes of October 7th?
We approve the minutes.
A second.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Before we move to C, I'd like to move G up for county staff elected official discussions. I understand that Julian Nesbitt is with us this morning and is going to give us a update on the current situation of the health status of COVID and Clermont County. Julianne, thanks for being with us.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. So quick update this week. We are definitely not headed in the right direction. As you've kind of heard about things happening across the state of Ohio, honestly, and in many areas of the country, we're starting to see resurgence in cases. That is also impacting us. And pretty significantly, we were in the red for a week. We dropped back down to the orange. I anticipated we were going to kind of hover between those, the triggers that kind of push us into that category with it. I think we will continue to. Data today does show our outpatient visits and our ED visits increasing back again, and they're increasing to levels higher than what we have seen historically through the entire outbreak. With it. Additionally, our case count per 100,000, we are now a high incident county defined by the CDC because our cases are basically the 14-day, looking back over the last 14 days, we are more than 100 cases per 100,000 population. So definitely trending in the wrong direction. To give kind of an idea of that, last week we were sitting at our case rate per 100,000 population was at 73. This week we are at 125. With that. So we will continue to look at the data. The indicators have not completely tripped yet, but the alert system that it pulls from will have to have today's data put into it. And we have a couple indicators that trip when we have a 5-day average, and our 4-day average is increasing. So we will have to wait and see what the end result of that last day of data being put in to see what that does with us tomorrow. But certainly we have concerns over that case rate per 100,000 going up so quickly. It's a pretty significant climb. We have never had rates that high going on. We are seeing, we continue to see cases related to schools, but not, major concerns there for right now. But what we know is what happens in the community impacts what is going on in our schools. So, we do have concerns about that. We have a couple outbreaks in long-term care facilities. We have outbreak in, some businesses between employees that are occurring, just lots and lots of transmission out there that's happening. So really want to just reemphasize with everyone those preventive measures we put in. This was kind of our concern as we moved into colder weather, going back in the fall. Moving from outdoor environments to more indoor environments with that. So just really wanting to emphasize the fact that people need to continue to remain vigilant. We need to continue to wear the mask. Nobody likes masks. We understand that. We don't like masks either, but it is definitely a measure that's going to prevent that continued spread if both individuals are wearing masks and they have to be in close contact. So, we really encourage that socially distancing, hand hygiene, staying home if you are sick. That is a big concern that we have when individuals, who may think they have mild symptoms and continue to come to work and then spread it to others who can have pretty significant symptoms. So please just continuing to really remain vigilant and be careful as we continue to kind of move into the fall. ultimately at some point, it will impact our schools to a level of determining whether or not they can continue to stay in session, whether or not we can continue with sports and, those types of things that we want our kids to do. We want them in school. We want them to enjoy those benefits. With it, we want the community to be able to do what they can do, but we are definitely trending in the wrong direction. So that's really all I have, unless you guys have questions for me.
Julianne, is there anything there that you can kind of look at or tell us about that might be driving those numbers up? I mean, from contact tracing and that kind of stuff, are you seeing it becoming from, one particular demographic area? I mean, is there anything there, or just spread across the county?
It's spread across the county. It's truly what, people who are socializing in larger groups with it. And it's a lot of times we do run into cases on sports teams. It's not always what's happening while they're necessarily on the field or in practice. It's the fact that those groups also socialize, after games and after events. People, I think everybody's tired, and we understand that. Trust me, if anyone who understands being tired, it's public health right now. We definitely get it. But I think people are just tired and I think given up a little bit, and we can't do that at this point. Certainly we don't want to see us go back in a direction where we have to impact any businesses, schools, anybody. We don't want to see that. But that means that we really have to remain vigilant. I mean, what we're seeing is really spread across, all demographics. I mean, age groups. Certainly, we may have a few more cases in younger age groups. Those have a tendency to be a little less symptomatic, just in general. Not that we can't have severe cases with those age groups, but it is really spread everywhere, pretty much in every environment that we're seeing happening.
And just not to touch on fear of the virus or anything, where do we stand as far as death cases? And what are we seeing? You and I talked a long time ago, as this virus started to make its way through a population, that it would change. Are we seeing the virus as potent as we did when we first saw it? Or, any indication there?
So, our death count is at 36 right now, and that's significantly ticked up within the last few weeks, where we've had, an increase in number of cases. Certainly concerns once it makes it into our long-term care facilities, but that's the general community as how is it makes its way in. It can be either, as they continue to open up for visitation, it can be family members, employees, bringing it in who they may be mildly symptomatic or asymptomatic. And then once it kind of takes a foothold in those facilities, obviously concern there. But, as we continue to see loved ones, as we continue to move in towards the holidays, it's something to be really cognizant and aware of, that we want to make sure we're not exposing high-risk individuals, to the disease. So, as far as what we're seeing, because we're starting to see a lot more, and we have for, a couple months now, more spread in that kind of younger demographic population on it. So teens and through, early, in through the 20s and 30s and stuff. You kind of have that general appearance that the virus is maybe a little less, kind of potent as you think about it. But those are just generally more healthy individuals who have better immune systems and can fight it a little bit more. I still think we have the big concern and risk with those high-risk individuals that we're exposing in the community.
Okay. Board, any other questions for Julianne today?
Thank you, Julianne.
Julianne, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule, and hang in there. We know everybody's tired. This has been a long enduring, virus. No question about that. So thanks to everyone on your team and what they do.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me today.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to C. We'll go to the consent agenda. Board, a consent agenda has been prepared for our consideration today. I know you've had it early, had the opportunity to review it. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda for further conversation or consideration? Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey?
Aye.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes. We will go to D, the non-consent agenda. It starts on page 3 at item number 6. It's a recommendation that the Board of County Commissioners adopt resolution number 163-20 resolving to approve payment in vendors in the total amount of $1,596,000, $96,024.70. As set forth in the BCC approval invoice report for checks dated October 14th, 2020, BCC directed prepaid invoice reports and/or the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on October 12th, 2020, and further authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants for the same pursuant to section 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion for payment of the bills?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey?
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes. Item number 7, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Item number 7 is a recommendation of myself, Timothy Dick, Director of Department of Job and Family Services, with concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to execute Amendment Number 1 to the purchase of service agreement by and between the County of Clermont, Ohio, and Home Study Services of North Carolina, located in Raleigh, North Carolina, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on June 26, 2019, which represents a revision to the agreement ending date from October 31st, 2020 to October 31st, 2021, with said purchase and service agreement to be effective for the revised period of June 26, 2019 through October 31st, 2021, as well as to allow for payment to Home Study Services of North Carolina in the event that subsequent to the placement of the child in the prospective adoptive home an adoption is not finalized, with all other terms and conditions of the original purchase and service agreement to remain in full force and in effect.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 7. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey?
Aye.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes. Item number 8. Morning, Suki.
Morning, Suki.
Lord, how are you today?
Good to see ya.
You.
Oh, you too.
Yes, Dookie.
Hi, Ed. All right, item 8 is a recommendation to Jeremy Evans, our county engineer, to accept the following grant and assignment of easement. This is another storm water easement, storm sewer easement. This is in the Miami Trails Stormwater District, and it was, well, the district was established under Resolution 14415 in September 2015. The easement that we have today is the Keith and Deborah Bowling at 877 Miami Ridge Drive.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 8. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey?
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Just a status of the easements in Miami Trails. That was our first big stormwater district. We had done a large group of easements when we sent them all out, and we did the ones that were returned. Now we're doing them on a case-by-case basis. So this property has some repairs that we have to go do. So we push that easement through them, and we'll see what, the few that are still out there remaining, we'll bring those forward when we have work that has to be done.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Good seeing you.
Item number 9.
Morning, I'm Lyle Bloom, Director with the Clermont County Water Resources Department, and item number 9 is a recommendation not to proceed with the 9-mile Tabasco Road water petition project located in Pierce Township due to the lack of support from property owners for said project, and authorize the Clermont County Water Resources Department to send notice to the owners of property affected by said project, advising them that the project is no longer active and declaring that all proceedings with respect to same are hereby discontinued. But we had interest from property owners late last year of 2019 We sent a mailing to the property owners on October 8th of 2019. We had a public involvement meeting October 29th of 2019. And we were trying to get responses from property owners to indicate whether they were in support or opposition to the project. We had limited responses. We sent a second letter on November 18th of last year, and then a third letter July 7th of 2020. The total responses, we had 4 property owners representing 4 properties that supported the project. 4 property owners representing 6 properties were opposed to the project, and then we did not receive responses from 5 property owners representing 5 properties. So at this point, there really isn't overwhelming support or much support for the project. So we're recommending not to proceed. However, we've been using our hydraulic model. We've identified a project in our 5-year plan, which is the Cherry Grove Elevated Water Storage Tank that was intended to improve fire protection in the Cherry Grove area. Well, we've found that if we extend a 12-inch water main up 9 Mile Road, which would benefit these property owners, we could essentially eliminate that project from our plan. So in our next 5-year update, we plan to remove the Cherry Grove tank project from the plan, add a capital improvement project to it to essentially replace it, and will accomplish the same benefits. And it would not be funded through special assessment. So the property owners, if that project does proceed, would get water, have access to water service, just not through an assessment project.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 9. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion for Lyle? Lyle, just to touch on that a minute. So even though you haven't seen any overwhelming response for this particular project by assessment, you're going to add that to your capital forecast for the next 5-year phase?
Correct. Yeah, so we plan to build a 12-inch water main, and this is a portion of 9 Mile Road that's between Bradbury and Davis Roads.
Yep.
So it will connect we've got existing water lines along different sections of 9 Mile, and this would connect to 2 water mains that are along there.
In that project would eliminate the need for that elevated water tank?
Correct.
Okay. And then if the residents did want access to that water, would that be tap-in fee?
Yes, they pay the standard connection fees and meter installation fees that all of our customers pay.
Okay. Anything else, board? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 10.
Item number 10 is a recommendation to approve the request to advertise for bids for CCTV inspection and cleaning of sewers pursuant to the specifications, and to authorize the clerk of the board to place a legal notice in a newspaper of general circulation on Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. Schedule a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting on Thursday, November 5th, 2020 at 10 a.m. with bids to be received until 2:00 p.m. local time on Thursday, November 12th, 2020 in the Office of the Board of County Commissioners, 101 East Main Street, Batavia, where the label will be publicly open or read aloud shortly thereafter, and the notice will also be posted on the county's website. So this request for bids also includes televising and cleaning of storm sewers. So we're partnering with the county engineer's office. They use the same contractors that we do. So this will address any public bidding requirements. And then we also, for the Water Resources Department, we have about 4,200 feet of 18-inch trunk sewer that's cross-country that we don't have the means to televise. So we've identified that specifically to be televised and cleaned as a part of this project.
Thanks, Lyle.
And the annual estimated costs for this is $140,000.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 10 for inspection and cleaning of sewers. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 11.
Item Item number 11 is a recommendation to reject all bids received on August 20th, 2020. This is for project number 6401-60189 relative to the PUB Water Treatment Plant Well Rehabilitation Project located in Pierce Township. Inasmuch as all bids exceeded the engineer's estimate of construction by more than 10% pursuant to and in compliance with section 153.12 of the Ohio Revised Code. So when we bid this project earlier this year, we did receive 3 bids. They were all well above the 110% of the engineer's estimate. So we're rejecting the bids now. We'll revise the project, evaluate the engineer's estimate, and then we anticipate coming back with a request to re-advertise the project.
Okay. Board, you've heard the reading of item number 11. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or questions? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. And we would at this time go to item 12. We are going to forego item 12 at the present. And we're going to skip over it and we'll address it in a few minutes. So I'm going to move to item 13.
Hello, Commissioners. Michael McNamara, Community and Economic Development Director. Item number 13 is recommendation of Michael McNamara, Director, Department of Community and Economic Development, with the concurrence of Greg Bickford, Assistant County Administrator, to amend Resolution number 155-20, adopted by the Board of County Commissioners on 9/23/2020, resolving to authorize the increase of total allocated CARES Act funds from $500,000 to $1 million in total eligible small business grants of the Clermont County Small Business Relief Initiative, effective upon adoption. This is a project that all of you have been watching very closely for the past few weeks, and you've noticed that it has received a lot of attention. A lot of businesses have applied for it. We have encumbered the original, almost all of the original $500,000 that you have allotted towards it. So we believe that the other $500,000 that is proposed here today will be in demand by the business community in Clermont County. We are currently waiting to get the documentation from the businesses that are currently eligible so that we can begin distributing those funds to the eligible businesses.
Okay.
Very nice.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 13. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Michael, I think this is a great thing. It's obvious that small business in Clermont County have been impacted, by the recent events that we've had here and obviously the shutting down of the economy in Ohio. So, if this gives them an edge to, put them back on the black side of their profit and loss statement, it's a great thing. So, being able to provide $1 million is I know on my behalf, I think that's a great path forward, and I know the other board members do
It's a
too.
great path forward.
It's a blessing.
Of course, probably small businesses that will simply keep them afloat, and I think
bet.
that's a wonderful thing.
You bet.
Small business is a cornerstone of economic development in Clermont County.
Yep. Any other comments, board?
Just thank you and your staff for
Thank you.
all the work you've been doing.
I'll pass it along. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Item number 14.
Number 14 is a recommendation to approve the application of the Young Women's Christian Association of Greater Cincinnati for the release of funds to be collected as fees for the issuance of marriage licenses and for the release of funds to be collected as additional fees for the filing of each new action or proceeding for annulment, divorce, or dissolution of marriage from 1/1/21 through 12/31/21. All of this is pursuant to Section 3113.34 and 2303.201D of the Ohio Revised Code for the operation of the House of Peace, a shelter for victims of domestic violence, for which the funds to be collected the funds are estimated not to exceed the amount of $41,127.30. Again, pursuant to Section 3113.35B of the Ohio Revised Code.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 14. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
A second?
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 15.
15, it's our recommendation to authorize David L. Painter, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute a letter of intent to renew the contract with Clermont Senior Services Incorporated for the continuation of the provision of services or facilities for the senior citizens of Clermont County during calendar year 2021 pursuant to and in compliance with Section 1 of the Contract for Senior Services, ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 12/17/2015, which represents the 5th year of a 5-year option.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 15 and the request to enter into a contract with Senior Services. Do I have a motion for approval?
I make the motion?
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 16.
Good morning, Mary Raines from OMB. And item 16 is a request to increase the annual appropriations for 2020 in the local coronavirus relief fund in the amount of $7,446,286.66, which is the latest from House Bill 614 plus interest in that fund. And also into the general fund sheriff court services for a retirement payout in the amount of $8,860.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 16 for a change in allocation of $7.4 million and $88.60 to the general fund. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
A second?
Been moved, received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Mary, the 7.4, is there 7.4 also that's going to be distributed to local governments?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So just about that same amount?
Yeah, right, it's 50% stays in the county, and then 50% goes back. And this one is based on population, whereas the previous two distributions were on the local government fund allocations.
In what's the time frame that townships or villages and cities could expect to see that?
Oh, they've already received it.
They've already got it.
There are only 4 villages that have not, 2 of them have been dissolved, so, that's a moot point.
Okay.
And then Shiloh and Neville are the other 2
Okay,
that have not requested their monies,
thank you.
so.
Any further conversation or discussion, board?
No.
Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. And Mary, before you step away there, I'm going to move the agenda to item G for staff and elected official discussions again. And we'd be really pleased if you could give us a budget update.
I can give you a little bit here. The preliminary sales tax estimate for the state's August distribution, or August allocation, shows that there was a 5% increase roughly in non-auto sales. We haven't seen the auto preliminary yet, so we don't really know what that's going to do. But this really gives a good indication that we're on track to meet our original estimates. So the internet sales have really helped. As a comparison, this month's, I just checked and it has already been reported, so we'll be getting about a 4% increase over last year's sales tax for the same month. The state's preliminary numbers had indicated a 6% non-auto with an 18% decrease in autos for this period, and it came out to about a 4%. So we're looking pretty good in that regard. Casinos, everybody, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati are back on track, pretty much even with what they were last August, September, and except Toledo. And I meant to look before I came in, and I didn't have a chance. Toledo is still up 33%, and Michigan's casinos were not open yet, and I know they're scheduled to open up here soon, but I didn't check to see where they actually stand. So I think that's what's impacting Toledo at this point in time. We're still going to be down $700,000 in revenues, roughly, from the 2.5 that we had estimated. That we can't make that up because it was when they were closed from mid-March to mid-June. So that's gone. Court cases and fines in municipal court, I talked to Tim Rudd yesterday, and they're picking up. They're not back to where they should be, but they are seeing a big uptick, and they really credit the contract they had with the Attorney General's office for the delinquent collections. So they're still down, but they're better than what they had projected at the tax budget. So we'll see something a little bit better there, getting back to a normalization. And other than that, the COVID monies that have been received by Clermont County as a whole of just over $19.7 million. And Clermont County itself has retained 9.7, almost 9.8 million of that. And the rest being distributed to the local governments.
Okay.
And that has to be obligated by December 30th, unless something happens to extend those deadlines.
And I know there's lobbying going on, being asked to extend those deadlines.
Right.
So you bet. Well, thanks, Mary. And you know, it really is, it's amazing, you know, at how, first of all, how fast the economy went down, and then how fast it has come back up, you know, which just speaks to the strength of, you know, what the American economy looks like right now. So that's a great thing.
Absolutely.
Any other comments about the budget, more? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And now I would move back to item 12. Are we there yet?
I'm going to say we are here now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 12.
My apologies for the delay.
No problem.
Agenda item number 12 is a recommendation of myself, Wade Grabowski, Clermont County Facilities Management Department, with the concurrence of Mr. Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to execute Amendment 2 to the contract for janitorial services for various county facilities with GSF USA at Princeton Glendale Road, Cincinnati, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 8/29/2018 and amended on December 3rd, 2019, with said facilities identified in Exhibit A attached thereto and made a part thereof, for an estimated amount of $294,885.91, effective for the period of 10/2/2020 through 10/1/2021, which exercises the second of two one-year renewal options, therefore, pursuant to Article 14 of the aforestated contract for janitorial services, and with all other terms and conditions therefore remaining in full force and effect, and contingent upon the issuance and release of the purchase order in concert with requisition number 4716, dated September 25th, 2020.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 12 for janitorial services. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Tom, everything?
We wanted to verify because of the date of the contract was 10/2, and obviously it's 10/14.
Yep.
There apparently was an issue with the date of the bond, and I think
Correct.
Wade had gotten that straightened out. So I checked with the prosecutor's office. They just wanted to make sure that it was retro so that we can pay the vendor.
Okay,
So that's why I was checking. And so
Okay.
we got it straightened out, and they recommended the board proceed.
okay, thank you. Board, any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Thanks, Wade.
Very good, thank you.
And Wade, before you leave?
Yes, sir.
What's going on with the tower here at the administration building?
Twofold. You have two major issues that are happening right now. Everything is under control. We've been on fire watch since 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. last night with the dry system in the attic. Compressor failed. We've had continual issues. You see the Silco people that are here. That will be corrected hopefully by 1, 2 o'clock. There is a leak in the ceiling. We prevented the dry system from engaging, so there's no water in the attic, and we'll get it fixed. The cooling tower is a motor failure on the spray pump and the blower motor. We had it scheduled originally for Monday because it was 77 degrees. I went ahead and elected to postpone it until today. I did not want to postpone it any longer because on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to go in the high 70s again. So I took my chances. That's why I sent the email out and said, you know what, it's going to be 71, 72 here today. Let's just get it out. So they're removing and cutting out the old piping today. The crane will be here tomorrow. I've already discussed it with Board of Elections and the deputy sheriffs that are out there that we will have to block this area off until the crane lifts the old one out, puts the new one in. On Friday, they'll hook it up, and hopefully by end of business on Friday, we'll be up and ready to go.
All right. Well,
Okay?
thank you.
Great job.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, sir.
So we're at E in our agenda, additions to the agenda. Tom, at this time, are there any additions to the agenda we need to discuss?
Yeah, we do have an addition to the agenda, Greg.
Yeah, we'd like you to consider a motion to update the list of vehicles and equipment available for the public auction scheduled for October 17th, 2020.
Okay, board, you've heard that we have an addition to the agenda, updating the list for public auction. Do I have a motion to add this to the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved, received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes, and so Greg, would you present that resolution one more time?
We have Wayne Prescott,
Okay,
Fleet Manager, here to present that.
Good morning. I'm Wayne Prescott, Fleet Manager. It's my recommendation, with the concurrence of Thomas Eigel, County Administrator, that the Board of County Commissioners resolve to declare a revised listing of certain personal property and vehicles required for the use of county officers and departments of Clermont County, Ohio, as no longer needed for public use, obsolete, or unfit for use for which it was acquired, and to sell the aforestated property at public auction on Saturday, 10/17/20 at 10 a.m. local time at the premises known as the Clermont County Municipal Court, rear parking lot, 4430 State Route 222, Batavia, Ohio 45103, to the highest bidder pursuant to and in compliance with Section 307.12A, parentheses 1 of the Ohio Revised Code.
thanks, Wayne. Board, you've heard the reading of the addition for updating the list and for the auction of vehicles on, I believe, Saturday, 10/17. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
A second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Any further additions at this time?
Yes, sir.
Nope. Okay.
Executive session.
Then I'll go to item F. Board, before I go to that, I understand that we no longer have a need for a executive session to discuss imminent litigation with the prosecutor. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So we no longer need G3, 121.22 G3.
Okay.
But I would like the board to consider adding on 121.22 G1 for the employment or compensation of one or more public employees.
Okay. So, board, I'm going to ask to amend the agenda again. We are going to, we'll consider a change in executive session pursuant to section 121.22. Do I have a motion to make the necessary changes?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes, board, I'm going to make a revision to eliminate G3 from our agenda, which would have required a conferring with the prosecuting attorney for pending or imminent litigation. I'm going to replace it. I'm requesting an executive session pursuant to section 121.22 G1 of the Ohio Revised Code to consider the employment or compensation of one or more public employees only. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Do I have a motion to go into executive session in accordance with G1?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved, received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes, we will proceed into executive session. We will return and we will conduct further business. Thank you. We are back from executive session. No actions were taken and no decisions were made, and we'll move on with the agenda. Prior to moving on, I'll just ask, are there any additions to the agenda we need to consider, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then I would move to G, county staff and elected official discussions. Do we have any other county officials that would like to address the board? Then we'll go to H for member comments. Board members, any comments today about today's meeting? Anything you wanted to say?
No, thank you.
Julianne said it all at the beginning, that we need to wear our masks and social distance and do our part to keep the COVID under control. Stay safe.
Absolutely. Well, with no other discussions, then I would ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting today.
I'll make the
So
motion.
moved.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes, and that concludes our meeting today for October the 14th, 2020. Holly, before I say goodbye to the viewers and listeners, our next meeting, is that at regular scheduled time on the 21st?
it is Commissioner Painter, 21st at 10 a.m.
Okay. Then thanks for attending today, and we will see you on Wednesday, 10/21 at 10 a.m. Thanks, and have a safe week.